Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Steve Larson, and you're listening to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. Oh, yeah. So here's the real mystery. How do real MLMers like us, who didn't cheat and only bug family members and friends, who want to grow a profitable home business, how do we recruit A players into our downlines and create extra incomes, yet still have plenty of time for the rest of our lives? That's the blaring question, and this podcast will give you the answer. My name is Steve Larson, and welcome to Secret MLM Hacks Radio. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, I am having a great day. You know what's funny? I love Mondays. I love them so much. Monday is my favorite day of the week, and Monday morning specifically. And I go popping out of bed, and I'm like, yeah, we get to do this again. What? And I get pumped about it, and I'm excited about it. Well, hey, I kind of have to hurry here a little bit. In about an hour here, we're actually going to find out the gender of our new little kid, and I'm excited. It's going to be a lot of fun. Few things have taught me as much as being a father, so this will be a good experience. Hey, I wanted to drop in a question here. I love hearing your guys' questions, and I do get them, and I kind of vet through them to see which ones are most applicable for everybody. And so I got a question here from John Bender, and great question here. If you guys don't know what I'm talking about, if you go to Secret MLM Hacks Radio, secretmlmhacksradio.com, and you have to opt in, but on the next page, what it does is there's a green button down on the bottom right. And if you click that button, what it'll do is you actually can record a question to me. And typically they're about 30-second questions, and just start with, hey, Steve. And if it's a question that's applicable for everybody, you can go ahead and drop it in there. And I put them inside the actual episodes themselves. And I think you guys have heard me do that before. So I have another one here, though, and I thought I'd play it right now.
Hey, Steve, this is John Bender checking in here, getting ready to head into the gym. But I had a question for you. You know, I've been doing networking for 23 years. And have been pretty successful. We've done about $350 million in sales with our different systems. And I've studied all these gurus for years, focusing in the digital space. And why is it that you seem to be like one of the few good guys out there? You know, you don't curse, you're not off color, you don't do sexist jokes. You know, you're just a good guy. You're funny, you know, you're bright, you're intelligent. You're extremely informative. I know you're incredibly giving. What gives, man? I don't get it. Why did all these other people, I mean, from some of my greatest icons out there to the modern marketers of the day, they're so crude and rude, and yet you're such a incredibly great mentor, not just for what you know, but who you are and apparently whose you are. So I want to thank you for that, and doing this for so many years. It's great to see the great work you're doing. Keep it up. And hope to be a part of your team.
Hey, how's it going, John? Hey, first off, thank you so much for that question and extremely nice compliments. I was not expecting that. The reason why I actually wanted to put this in the episode for everybody, though, is there's a very specific reason why I do what I do and how I do it. So I've had the opportunity, the chance in my career to work with some very big names, okay? John Bender, yourself, you're the man. You know, I obviously, for everyone else who's listening, I do know who John is. I actually was shocked and surprised when I saw him drop this question. It was very, very nice of you, but certainly consider him to be one of my mentors as well. But look, I've had the chance of working with some very big names, very big people. When I was working at ClickFunnels, I'm saying, I'm solo now, as you guys all know. I've been solo I'm starting my 4th week solo, and it's been awesome. And it's because of MLM that I'm able to do that. Which is a lot of fun and great. But we did a ton of projects with some huge names, guys. I mean, I built for Marcus Lemonis on the TV show The Prophet on CNBC. Did 5 funnels for him. We did some awesome projects with Tony Robbins and for his book funnel, Money Master the Game. We did some projects for Robert Kiyosaki. The Tony Robbins one, that was right before I got there, but that was the kind of stuff that we would do all the time. And it was fun, guys. I mean, it's super fun. And what was interesting was to watch the mentality of these massive giants. And what was interesting is there seems to be this disconnect. And you're thinking, Stephen, what does that have to do with MLM? It has everything to do with MLM, okay? Okay, just follow me on this a little bit. What I noticed is rubbing shoulders with some of these massive guys, right? I'm talking tier one people, right? Everyone knows them. Everyone knows who they are. They're sought after. They have massive distribution. You know what I mean? Their power of what they say sways markets and people's opinions like crazy. You know what I mean? These are huge. They're huge people, and they know that. And I learned that like 90% of the time, these guys are like some of the most amazing, authentic, caring, loving people. They're genuinely good people, just good people. Okay. And what was fascinating though, and I'm going to be very careful as I say this, and this is for the lesson, and it might not be nice to some people when they hear it, but there are some people that they're not on that tier one level, and they know it, but they think that to be a professional, they must go around toting around their successes in front of the faces of all these other people. Okay. And kind of be mean about it. And as soon as there's a, guys, I'm very religious, okay, so I'm just going to say that. And there's a verse that says that the moment someone gets any amount of power or authority, they tend to abuse it. That's basically what the lesson is. Any amount of power or any amount of authority, they tend to abuse it and basically drink their own Kool-Aid. Okay, it's not what it says. Okay, but that's basically it. And it was a huge topic that I had with Russell many times, one-on-one with him. And he would say, Stephen, if you want recognition, don't seek it. Okay, and then he would also say things like, don't drink your own Kool-Aid. It's not that I was, okay, it's just that we would watch these other people and we would have conversations and stuff like that about, and we're like, man, and it's not to say like, oh, I'm better than you because I'm not drinking my Kool-Aid. You know, it's not a status thing. It's nothing like that. But I truly believe that guys, every one of us who's listening to this podcast right now, we all have the, it is innate and it is inside of us to be great, It's inside of every individual. It's not reserved for just a few people. Every person can be great. What does great mean? First of all, you compare yourself to you, no one else. Okay? One of the easiest ways to get down in your life is to start comparing yourself to other people or to an ideal. Okay? If you look around and you start saying to yourself, oh man, like for me, you guys know a lot of my story, right? When we had like literally no money, right? And it was extremely stressful. It was terrible. It was an awful experience to go through that whole thing. But when we had no money, if I compare myself to where I am compared to where we were, oh man, that's awesome. Like, that's so cool. I have nothing to be ashamed about. There's nothing to be embarrassed about. Like, look what I was able to get done. I'm comparing me to me. That is the easiest place for you to have success and fulfillment emotionally in this game of MLM. The easiest way for you to get down and have destructive energy all over you is to compare yourself, number one, to a person, or number two, to an ideal. The problem with comparing yourself to an ideal, like pop culture, the problem is that they change all the time. It's an ideal. It's undefinable. You don't know when you reached it. You don't know when you hit the spot because it moved the moment you started going towards it. That's the problem with ideals. So don't compare yourself or put your self-worth or value on by comparing yourself to ideals, right? And again, pop culture does that all the time. I'm not throwing mud. I'm not throwing rocks. I'm not saying like, I'm not downplaying Hollywood. I'm not downplaying movies. I'm not like nothing like that. I'm saying when you pit your self-worth against things that are ideals or another person, you will never really feel successful or happy or satisfied with what you're doing ever. Because you can't, okay? But when you compare yourself to something that's solid, something that there's concrete evidence of, something that, and you compare yourself to where you've gone, and you measure that progress. That, my friend, is how you actually get the feeling and emotion of, oh man, I can do this, or look what I've done. Like, this is so cool, and not in a boasting way. You're not being proud, but it's okay, and it's important to feel, a sense of pride and accomplishment over what you've been getting done. Okay. So John, you said what gives? I compare myself to me. I looked at myself in the mirror about 3 years ago, and I remember this, and I looked myself in the mirror and I said, I am Steve freaking Larson, and I'm going to be the best funnel builder in the world. Okay, that's what I did, and I looked myself in the mirror and I got serious about it, and I started making sacrifices in order to get there. And I did not go hang out with friends. I did not go, and I studied my face off, and literally just one right after the other every single day for years, and only slept anywhere from 3 to 5 hours a night typically. Sometimes I'd indulge and go to 6, and I did that for years, and to study and to learn and to practice and to build side businesses and side agencies and build sales funnels for other people and other companies and for myself, and finally got good enough that people started knowing who I was, and then finally got good enough that Russell Brunson found out who I was and got hired at ClickFunnels as the lead funnel builder. And then I really started accelerating. And I don't remember who said it, but it's the quote that basically says like, hey, when you're standing up in the clouds, realize you're standing on the shoulders of giants. You know what I mean? I totally botched that quote, but basically, I don't get anywhere on my own, and I'm very cognizant of that. I do believe that God has been very much involved with it and will continue to be, and I'm very thankful for that. And there's no thing that I can do or say really that is of my own. You know what I mean? That's the nature of ideas. That, guys, in this MLM business, you're starting to have ideas, especially in this podcast. I'm sure I've given you ideas. Guess what? I got the ideas, though, from other people and other things, and they got taken. This piece got taken from that base, and this piece got taken from this origin, and this piece, and then when I combined them here, look how cool they got, and then I'm sharing them, and you're taking them, and you're saying, here's where I am, Steve, and I'm tossing my things on. It's like, so there's nothing in my mind that is really of our own, both physically or idea based. Everything has come from something else, and in my mind, I do believe that's God. And it's ludicrous for me to think that it came from my own hand. Look what I crafted, 100%. Now I have agency. I can move forward. I can take action. I can do everything I can to work super hard and get things done. And nothing's gonna get done, and nothing's gonna work unless I do. But it's still ultimately at the end, it's not really my own thing. You know what I mean? So that's my belief. I don't really talk. I'm learning on talking about God publicly on my podcast more. And that's something I'm getting more comfortable with. I've never really done that on this episode, I don't think, or on the show. But anyway, that's why. So I was speaking at 2 different events this last week, and I think I told you guys about that. But it's 2 different events back to back, and I started getting a lot of praise, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with like understanding that you're good, and I know I'm good. Okay, I'm unapologetic about the fact that I know I'm good, but I also know where that all came from. Okay, I'm pointing up like you can see me, and that's part of it. Part of my background with this, guys, is that a lot of you know there's 2 things. I just wanted to drop 2 stories on you here real quick. There's 2 things here that are really, really important for me to always remember in my background. Number 1, I was probably the most shy kid that you could ever find. When I was in high school, I got voted the nicest kid in high school. There were 600 people in my graduating class, 600. And I got voted the nicest kid. I literally got the nicest kid award. And it shocked me because I was a little rage machine on the inside. And I was like, nicest kid award. It was like pent up internal energy. You know what I mean? And I was like, that it actually surprised me like crazy. Nicest kid award. What on earth? And it wasn't internally. It was not because I was nice. It's because I was shy, and I was like full of rage, and I was like this little tiny terror. You know what I mean? Which is so true. Okay, and so I had to overcome a lot of stuff, and it wasn't. I was the one that created activation energy to show God that I was able to actually go do these things, but ultimately the change did not come because of me. You know what I mean? That's where my mentality is with that. The second thing is that when I look back and I start thinking about like, guys, I was an idiot in school. I just was. I was not good at school stuff. I was not book smart. I was what you would call street smart. And I barely graduated high school. I actually did so bad my first semester of college that I got kicked out, which is true. And I had to reapply after learning how to learn, and then I went back, and that's when I started getting straight A's, and almost complete straight A's. I ended school with a 3.85 GPA, which was awesome. I mean, it was awesome, really, really cool. But I think I got a 0.17 GPA my first semester. No joke. And which is awful, super bad. And so, like, for me, there's just been such a stark contrast in life from where I was as a kid and as a teenager, and even into my early 20s, compared to where I am now. The internal transformation has gone through the roof, and it's frankly one of the reasons I'm so passionate about business. I have had more personal development through the pursuit of entrepreneurship than any personal development course could ever give me. Okay? Just like Robert Kiyosaki says, and I know I've brought that up before on this podcast before too, is that, like, look, the moment you start an entrepreneurial journey, you'll move forward, you'll get excited, but character flaws are going to explode in your face. And they're going to make you, there's going to be egg on your face all the time, guys. Okay? The character flaws are going to explode. And you're going to go, oh man, I wish I could have done that web. I wish I could have done this or that. I should have talked to that client, but man, I had personal habits and addictions that made me stay up late and didn't, you know what I mean? Whatever it is. I couldn't get up on time. I'm not eating right. So whatever those things are for you, they're personal character flaws that we all know about ourselves that are actually the thing that are holding us back a lot of times in business. It's not so much always that, like, hey, I don't know what to do next. I don't know what to do in my business next. You know what? 90% of the time, I found out that people know exactly what they should be doing next in their business. But what holds them back is a character flaw, a fear. They're scared of speaking. They're scared of talking. Whatever it is, it has more to do with that. And it's been my opinion, it's been my very amazing transformational experience to know and notice that if I take those things and I say, this is what I want to work on, you actually can overcome those things and you can move forward in a very powerful way. And that is what, in my mind, makes you successful. I don't publish stuff to look perfect. And a lot of people do that. I don't wear a certain tie on my podcast episode or my podcast cover for a reason. I take the starch out of my shirts. I'm trying to be just a real dude and show you, hey, look, I have fears. I have passions, desires. I have hobbies. I have, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. I'm just trying to be a real guy. I'm not trying to go around. And what's funny is I've noticed that when I publish and I speak and I go out and I'm more that, I get more followers than if I try to put a suit and tie on and posture myself. Now, if you're going through for somebody who wants to see the shirt and tie, great, that's fine. I'm not saying I'm against that at all. What I'm saying, though, is there's this thing to being authentic and real that a ton of people that I think are afraid to show. I think that they look around and they think that, oh my gosh, to be a professional means I must look. I hate the phrase, like, dress for success or where you can see it's a lot about clothes, stuff like that. I don't know if maybe that's a complex I have. I don't know. But it's just, I've been around so many massively, wildly successful people, and especially in the last little bit in my career, to notice and see that the ones that are really, like, satisfied where they are, the ones that are not drinking their own Kool-Aid, they're not afraid of being real. They're not afraid of, if there's somebody who's clearly not on the level that they are, the ones that are really awesome are the ones that won't care about that, and they'll just still tell them the same answer. They'll tell the same answer to somebody who paid them $100,000 for the answer versus somebody who they can tell is starting out and just needs to know what the answer. You know what I mean? They're able to. Everything isn't black and white to them. They're real, authentic individuals, and they have no problem being open and honest. And anyway. And so I saw that, and I've been really trying to just be. I mean, it's the reason, guys. I'll tell you. Like, I was running up the stairs chasing my little girls. We were running around. We were playing hide and seek. I tripped up the stairs. I freaking broke my toe. Like, come on. Most people, anyway. Like, just whatever's going on in your life. And a lot of you guys know, especially for those of you guys who actually came inside Secret MLM Hacks, which I hope that you guys all do. The actual program itself. I hope you join the program. Because what I do, module number 1 actually talks about how to become an individual that others want to follow in the first place. Since in MLM, they join you, not the MLM, right? How do you actually do that, right? And that's literally what module 1 is about. And it goes through and it shows, like, this is how you be someone that other people want to follow. This is how and you will speak to certain people and they will not like you, and that's fine. And you will speak to other people and this other following over here, they will like you. But if you're speaking so generically that you have this group over here that love you and that no one has any opinion about you, no one's going to follow you. They need to have an opinion about you, which means you need to get opinionated. And so I have no problem sharing my opinions, but also understanding that I shouldn't be full of myself either. Anyway, I feel like I said the same thing like a billion times over and over and over again. But there's something to trying to be, I don't know, just authentic about where you are, that people can sense it. And it's a big enough deal. I feel like it's something that people should all practice and try. Anyway, this is a 20-minute episode. I was not planning on doing that. But as far as what gives, it's that I'm just trying to be just a real guy and be a loud version of myself. There's always someone who's going to be better, faster, stronger, better looking. There's always the right, than me. Whatever it is. Better, faster, stronger. You know what I mean? There's always someone who's going to be. So that's not what I compete on. What I compete on are my differences, not my strengths. Okay? When in business, like the actual product, I compete on my strengths. But for my personal character, as far as my attractive character, the way I publish, I compete on differences. I don't compete on strengths, and that's one of the easiest reasons. That's one of the major reasons why I stand out. So you think through that with your MLM. Think through where you are. Like, what are your differences, and how can you compete on differences rather than strengths for your own character? But then for your product, compete on strengths, not rather than focusing on weaknesses. There's kind of two different. Anyway, I realized that a while ago. And it's been cool to be able to do that. And I really feel like that's where I started turning up more frequently in places because people were wanting to follow me. So anyway, we just screamed past 12,000 downloads, and I got a cool surprise for you guys coming up here in the future. But anyway, you guys are all awesome. Appreciate it. Thanks so much for the question, John. Have mad respect for you. And I will talk to you guys all later. Bye. Hey, thanks for listening. Please remember to subscribe and leave feedback for me. Do you have a question you want answered live on the show? Go to secretmlmhacksradio.com to submit your question and download your free MLM Masters Pack.